Good morning, everyone, and welcome to American Scouser's morning cup of coffee or
T.
tea, as always. What's going on, Micah? How are we doing this morning?
We're doing okay, apart from a slight pounding headache, which is not helped by the electricity company outside the house digging up the road.
Oh, yeah. Let's see if the power goes out. So, you want to see a headache, then you will definitely see it. So, there's a
Uh,
lot to get to this morning. Let's start with the Liverpool news to react to, and then we'll kind of like jump onto some of the more general soccer and Premier League stuff. First one, not totally official by the club yet, but I'm assuming it's going to be announced in a little bit over here, coming from Neil Jones. So it's a very reliable source that Jota is getting the extension, which was in the talks for a while. Obviously, he's out with the injury right now. What do you make of that whole ordeal? It's been kind of like weird with Nunez's arrival. Even a healthy Jota, I'm having trouble fitting him in right now, definitely to the starting 11. So what do you make of that?
well, I mean, it's a great deal for us. I like him as a player. Me being old school, he kind of reminds me of Kevin Keegan a little bit in that he's a little guy who heads the ball really well, but he never stops running either. He's just always working. But I think, especially this year, as we talked about yesterday, uh, Nunez will have like a bedding in period. He looks like he could do well, but he's going to have difficulties. Maybe especially the famous cold temperatures in March or wherever we happen to get to. So I see him. The way I look at it is we have Diaz, Salah, Nunez, Firmino, and Jota as the main players for the forward spots. So there's plenty of room for rotation within that. So I would see him taking maybe Nunez's place or Diaz's place, one of the two, when rotation is needed. But I mean, he's gonna get his games, and I think he's also looking maybe ahead to Firmino leaving at some point, which bumps him up in the
Yeah, that's true. I think
role
if
stakes.
Bobby leaves and we don't extend him, I can see him obviously bumping up in the pecking order. I just feel I'd rather have them in the middle, but we do not get you don't get the movement that you get with Bobby, and you do get the press and the running, but you just don't get the smarts that you get from Bobby, and then obviously you're not gonna get the physicality you're going to get from Nunez and the pace. But I feel like at times he looked lost last year. I do not like him on the left hand side. It just kind of like it was like an odd ordeal. So it would be I was really looking forward to seeing him there after another off season, kind of like understand the system a lot better. So this injury definitely kind of like hurts that cause. And definitely I think he'll still be going, but it will still like hurt his cause for like getting some quality minutes or like starting minutes if he's not fit by the World Cup. We do not know the extent of the injury, but hamstring is always tricky. You definitely do not want to come back early because then
Yeah.
you can just go back to square one. So that will be interesting to see. Another,
I,
go ahead.
I think though, just planning ahead. I think Klopp is planning ahead for a Bobby-less Liverpool. Like if you take Bobby Firmino out of the team altogether, then Nunez, Jota are almost the same type of player with slightly different physical qualities in terms of the role they can play. Because Jota can lead the line,
Mhm.
where Salah is out on he's the what you call the inverted winger on the left or on the right. Pardon me, Diaz on the left. So when we put Bobby into the team and we take him out, we don't have anybody to replicate what he does. So it changes everything that we're doing. So I really think they're looking forward to a time when Firmino is not at the club, so that when you change out the number nine, you can put in a number nine of similar qualities who does the same job. So the team doesn't really have to alter what they're doing as they're playing.
Yeah, my personal dream is like, and I think we shared this with Bickler on the podcast that Carvalho learns the trades from Bobby and kind of like takes over that role. So he not only would bring like skills of Bobby, like on the ball and stuff. He has kind of like the more of like an agility and pace and stuff like that too. So a cross between a Coutinho and a Bobby would be something great to watch, especially at his age. I'm hoping kind of he grows more and more into that role. Because Bobby, you don't tell by his like size and like demeanor, but he's a strong dude. I mean, he does hold off people similar to a number 9 when he has to, like when we need somebody up top to hold the ball and like let us kind of get settled in. So being able to duplicate what Bobby does, I mean, I love Bobby as a player, and having him back, even like towards the end of last year, he was doing some stuff on the field. I was like, man, it's so good to have him back, because yeah, it's been hard to duplicate what he can do on the field. So it would definitely be nice if we can find a player or two to be able to do that.
I think though with Carvalho, that's planning even further ahead for when Salah is not there. That they can alter things around that. It's great for us. No matter who we face, as long as things go as normal as possible, every team is going to look at whoever starts up front, the 3, and then the 2 or 3 on the bench, and they're going to say, we have no chance here. We have to play defensive now, which plays into our strengths then, because we can press comfortably all game. So I think it's a good sign to have.
I kind of like the fact that everybody brings something different too in that sense. So we can change and affect the game by, changing forwards in terms of how we play. If, we see certain things, you have somebody like Jota who's better in the air, in the box, compared to, what, Bobby can do and stuff like that. See, Gally is joining us from his vacation, probably by the freaking pool or something like that, while we slave away over here. Not having to talk about a Bobby-less Liverpool. Yeah, he's Mr. Anti-Bobby. We were just ripping on him on last night's pod, actually. But Gally is not the biggest Bobby fan. Well, he is, but, not as big as we are. Let's go with that. Another Liverpool news is it is now official that Tyler Morton is going on loan to Blackburn. What do you make of that ordeal?
I think for young players, I think it's always good to go down the divisions, maybe even down to League One, because they're tough leagues. They're physically tough leagues. You have to learn how to handle yourself. You're going to be up against a lot of senior professionals or strong first-team professionals trying to get to the top level. They're not going to care who you are or what club you came from. They're going to bash you from pillar to post to see if you have what it takes to be on the same field as them. So I like when we send the young players down there, because it's a cliche, but it turns them into men, or they lose it. They just kind of drop off the face of the earth. So it's a great move for Tyler Martin. He's going to get his minutes. It's a great move for Liverpool because he does have potential, but you want to see him develop the physical side of the game so that when he comes back, he's more ready to not get 10 minutes in a League Cup 6th round game. He's going to get a half a game in a league, and he's going to do well at it. So it's a great move all around.
That's what I was going to ask you, actually, because, a championship in some ways is even more physical than the Premier League. I mean, it's a man's game, as you would say. It's like really physical. So I think it's good for Morton to go there, because that's the only question mark I have on Tyler. And beginning before the season, where Klopp was talking about him playing like number 8, and it was funny, like we kind of like joked about this on the pod too, like the way he said it was like he plays 8 now, like he was even shocked, like he didn't put him there or something like that. And I wonder if that's partially because he does not have the physicality to be a 6 in the Premier League. I mean, obviously the kid is young. I mean, we've seen how Trent's body has developed from when he first started to now. If you hang out with Milner enough, I think you just automatically like get muscles by osmosis from him.
Milner's a human steroid. He just emanates muscle.
Do you think, part of the deal to consider perhaps moving him to number 8 is mainly due to that? And this is a good opportunity for him to see kind of like where he fits physically by, fighting off the physical battles in championship.
I think that's probably exactly right. I think he will go down there. He will hopefully play that position. I'm sure that was talked about in the loan arrangement, make sure he gets minutes and in this position, in this role of field. If he can handle it, he'll be fine coming back. If he can't handle it, it's the Scottish League for him. You know, he has to show that he can do it. He has the talent. We can see the talent. It's in buckets when he's on the field. But to play the number 8, and it could have been they're looking at who we have. We haven't bought any midfielders, so it could be a case that they took some of the younger lads and said, you know, we're going to do this for you. We're going to give you this plan. If you fulfill it, if you come through it, next year and a half, you're going to be the midfielder for Liverpool Football Club. Maybe Martin's one who's taken on that challenge, just going, yeah, you know, I could be the number 8. Just give me a chance, put me in situations where I'm going to have to develop, and then let's see where I go when I come back. So I think that's exactly it.
It's a great deal for both sides, I think. And it's a good play for Liverpool. Yeah. Obviously, Blackburn is getting a quality player. He's a good player, and I mean, he's shown. And, you know, those were like League Cup games, sometimes against championship sides, but he's shown that he can kind of control that midfield, but he does struggle physically at times. So I think it's a good chance, an opportunity for him. And
it's the Harry Wilson thing. Like, Harry Wilson had bags of talent, but he just couldn't handle the physicality. But now, looking at him now, having been down in the championship for a while, like, he just looks like he's not Liverpool quality now. Because he just doesn't have the speed to do what we want to do, but he looks like he belongs. You know, I think he's going to have a good season. In the sense of kind of like an Adam Lallana kind of a thing. Like, he'll be a big fish in a small pond. You just can't take him out of that small pond because he'll be the small fish then in the big pond. But that's what I think you can kind of compare Morton and any of them, even Curtis Jones to an extent, where if they could be put into those constant week to week, I mean, it's 42 games in the season. They're playing midweek games as well as at the same time that the European games are sometimes going on, the Champions League. I mean, so he'll be playing week in, week out. And the player we get back at the end of the year, I think, will be a completely different prospect.
Yeah, I think that would be good. So, I mean, it's kind of, you know, we see these young players, right? I mean, heck, there's no way in hell every single young player we tried out there is going to make it and be a Liverpool player because, you know, not a lot can. It's only a select few that can kind of like go above to the ranks and like be a Trent. You know, Curtis Jones is trying to be that player and stuff like that. And it's tricky. So the more experience they get, the more we see them off because they're not going to get a lot of minutes staying at Liverpool. And yeah, they get to train with the best. But I think sometimes game time and learning the physicality and building that physicality is more important. So I think Morton is a case of that. I don't know if you caught that, but on the same screen over there, we also had like some like rumor things. And one of them was Nat Phillips. So if I ask you, Maka, to put a price tag on Phillips, how much should Liverpool ask for him?
15 million.
15, right? That's we're right about the same. See, we could.
He's good, but he's Southampton good. No more.
But he's English as well, so.
So $25 billion because he has the English premium. But now, like, talent boy, he doesn't impact the game. He doesn't come onto the field and he doesn't stand out. Like, even up in Scotland when Van Dijk was at Celtic, he just looked class.
Mm-hmm.
At Southampton, he looked class. It was a good Southampton team now, but he just stood out. Nat Phillips has never stood out. He's just going to be one of those that like Connor Cody to an extent. You know there was a bit of talent there, but just not enough to be top 4 quality.
I get Nat Phillips will be the kind of guy that if we play against them, he will be all over the place, blocking like 100 shots, driving us nuts on a team like, Burnley or somebody like that, who just loves sitting back and heading everything out and stuff like that. He will be that kind of player. But yeah,
but then next week he concedes a hat trick to Villa.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, it would be a good move for him. Obviously, though, we should cash in from that as much as possible because those are the center back whose English is a hot commodity. So that's English tax should be on there in one form or another. So let's talk a lot bits about what's going on around the league. We were actually talking about the Cucurella to City deal yesterday. One of the rumors today is the fact that he might actually possibly be going to Chelsea now. Chelsea is putting their name in yet another player. What do you make of that ordeal? I mean, I don't
Well,
even know. I know Chilwell has not been healthy, but it seems, unless they're going to change formation somehow, it seems a waste of 50 million.
For him, because apparently they've already started talks. It's not just a rumor. They've already put in paperwork or whatever they have to do. But I think for Chelsea, any transfers in that you're looking at this season is probably a mixture of what they need and then what the new owners need to show their fans what they can do. So there's a bit of an ego thing almost that like you might get some duds that don't really fit what Tuchel is trying to do, but they want to buy players to go, hey, look, we can actually buy players, and this one's a hot commodity, so let's bring him in, and then 2 years later we'll scratch our heads wondering why he never worked out. But you kind of have to put that. If it was Abramovich still in charge, I would say that was just a rumor. But I think Tuchel's not going to last the season with Chelsea. I have a feeling he's like some of the comments he came out with in preseason games and after about the commitment is it just seemed like a manager who's kind of at odds with his players. And when that happens, you're finished pretty much. There's almost no coming back from that if that's the case. So I would imagine that if Tuchel's not really involved in that signing, it's really the owners or the director of football or wherever they have saying we have to start planning ahead, and the next manager might want a player like this. So I think it's an ownership thing.
I don't know which manager is going to come and be like, I want 2 left backs. Give me 2 quality left backs. That's how I play. I don't play a right back. I play 2 left backs.
It's maybe it's Guardiola. Maybe he's going to be at Chelsea next. Give me 27 left backs, half a sandwich and a Snickers.
Yeah, I thought that was like an odd ordeal. Or, I mean, there's more to Chilwell's injury and stuff like that we do not know. I guess that's like a possibility too, that it's more serious or it's going to be reoccurring. They already know something about Chilwell. So, I mean, because it's a lot of money. It's not even like they're like throwing, 10, 12 million on a young player that's up and coming to learn behind Chilwell or something. I mean, they're putting this dude out there to start.
I think, though, you kind of have to look at, like Leicester let Chilwell go, admittedly for a good bit of cash, but Brendan Rodgers, he likes his technical players and stuff like that. So you kind of have to wonder that they know something about Chilwell's robustness, that they were quite happy to say, let's not worry about him too much. We've got a few irons in the fire here, because they did quite well with the Castagna and that they brought in for them. But maybe there's something, as you say, maybe there's something more to Chilwell. That they're kind of like going, you know what, this is not going to end up well for us. We really need to get somebody in and let Chilwell be the understudy.
Well, that's a great segue right there. Let's talk about Leicester and see how many people can they lose. And if they lose these players this late heading to the season, what the heck will they do? So a lot of rumors. Schmeichel looks like that is not a rumor, and he's heading over to France. And now there's like rumors for like Newcastle putting in a bid for Madison, and then the ever-going Tielemans saga where everybody's interested. What do you make of that? First of all, everybody bailing on Leicester is not a good look, especially your captain kind of like taking off. And he's going to France. Like I never saw that. We had discussed this before when we were doing the Premier League show about Leicester. And, I just did not see even then what would be so attractive to Schmeichel about going to like France. It's not like he's going to like PSG or something like that. He's just going to France knowing he's not going to win the title.
He's going there because it's a nice place.
Well, that's true. That's true. I hear you. I hear you.
But
wait. I just got that. I thought you were just okay. Nice. Okay, now I really get it. There you go. Cheers, buddy.
But my wife is a Leicester fan. Like she picked those as her team because they were the underdogs in 2016. They won the league, so we kind of have to watch a lot of their games, and I would watch them anyway because I watch Gerrard's games, I watch Brendan Rodgers' games, I even watched Hodgson's games when he was coach, and as bad as he was for us, he's ex-Liverpool, so you kind of take an interest. And like for me, I seen a lot of Schmeichel last year, and I quite frankly, I thought he was hopeless. I thought he was at fault for a ton of their set piece goals that they conceded, especially on corners. They played in the European game, the last one they played in, and they had a situation on a corner where he had his hands on his own defender and pushed his own defender down to the ground and then didn't go for the ball. And I was watching them all season and going, he's going to go at the end of the year. Like, if Brendan Rodgers can get somebody in, he's going to go, because he was a detriment to the team. He's 35 or something like that. Like,
34, 35, somewhere on there.
Not old for a goalkeeper. Like, he probably had about 2 or 3 more years left, but he wasn't at the standard. Not we all know Brendan Rodgers is not a great judge of a goalkeeper, but he was detrimental to, like, in a team that was having a huge defensive injury crisis. You need your goalkeeper at least to be the solidifying, unifying influence, and he wasn't. He stood in his line. He was like watching Pat Jennings in 1977 playing soccer, playing a goal. Stood on his line the entire time. Distribution was awful. It was like watching Mignolet, actually.
Good old Mignolet.
But I could see that happening like all season. And my wife's not a soccer person, so I have to explain why these things were happening to her. But it doesn't surprise me. It surprised me where he went. So he's either getting a boatload of cash or a holiday home or something. I don't know. Although I think Cesc Fabregas signed for him as well today.
Yeah, I saw something about that as well. Yes.
So maybe it's one of those. I remember in the early 1980s, Southampton and QPR separately had a thing where they were signing up. Southampton was more famous for their dad's army. They bought all of these, like, coming to the end of their career players like Kevin Keegan and Alan Ball from Everton and stuff like that. And they actually had good seasons because they had all this experience. So maybe Nice are doing something like that.
So looks like Fabregas is actually going to Italy, to Como.
Oh, Italy. Oh, Como.
They got Ramsey, I think, is the player you're thinking of. They got Ramsey to...
Yeah. Ramsey, yeah. Well, again, another geezer.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe when we finish today, Tamucci, we get on the phone. I can speak a bit of French. Me and you get on the phone. I'll be centre back. I don't know where you played, and then maybe
I play centre back too. You can be like, and I also have this Turkish guy. He can't speak French, but I'll speak for him.
and I'm the size of 2 defenders, so you could play back 3 with only the 2 of us. It'd be great. But I think like, it wouldn't surprise me if I looked into it that they're probably buying in a lot of experienced players for that club. So Schmeichel would make sense from their point of view.
I mean, we would definitely provide the experience parts if they signed us, about quality, agility, and physical ability. I don't know if we still have it anymore, but if they sign us, we'll bring experience, all right? That's for sure.
Well, I fell over trying to go to sleep last night, so, my agility is shot.
So what do you make about Maddison and Tielemans? I mean, Tielemans ordeal has been going on for a while, and everybody and their brother is interested. And I can see why he's a good player, but at the same time, there has to be something there where nobody said, you know what, we'll pay the money, we'll take him right now.
He's lazy. That's it. He's lazy. Look, he was another one that was off fault a lot. I think he gave the most penalties away for Leicester.
Just lazy tackles. I only watch Leicester in like the bigger games. I don't watch them regularly.
He trails back really slowly, and then he puts a foot in from behind, and then gives away the penalty. Then throws the arms up, does the head shake and the head sulk, and then they concede the goal. He's lazy. He's Matt Letizia. He has all the talent to influence the game. But he doesn't. Like, Maddison is like, if they were to get rid of Tielemans and keep Maddison, they'd be doing much better. If they end up selling Maddison, it seems like they're in a bit of financial dire straits in terms of their transfer budget, at least. But if they end up selling Maddison and keeping Tielemans, then I disagree with Gali. Gali on the other podcast think Rodgers is forced out the door this season, but I don't think so, because he's a good attacking coach. He's the flip side of the Brighton Graham Potter. He was great at defensive coach. If you got these 2 coaches and smashed them together into one coach, you'd have a great coach. But for what they are in Rodgers' first full season at Leicester, I think they were the 3rd top scorers, and they were the 4th, 3rd top scorers in the second season, and 6th top scorers in in last season with all the injury crisis. Like, he knows how to get teams to score goals. You just can't defend. Like, you can't coach
That's
defense.
always been his thing. He can. Defending set pieces. He must be like, giving anti-defending set pieces. You were talking about like Mignolet and stuff afterwards. I remember like every corner kick we gave away, I felt like we just gave away a penalty. That was the chances of conceding.
To be fair, that was I used to call it the Skirtle factor, because it was usually Skirtle dragging somebody down, trying to play MMA or something like that in the box. But I think they'll be okay if they kept the team they have. But if they sell Maddison, they're in trouble, because he is more than Tielemans. I think he's the hub of everything that goes on, because he links with players. Tielemans gets the ball and he tries something flashy, and when it comes off, he looks great. Maddison actually tries to find Vardy. He actually tries to find Barnes. He tries to find the new kid, Dewsbury Hall, who's quite good. He tries to link the play. Like, he would actually do well with us 6 years ago. He would have been a good, like, Maddison now in a time machine to 6 years ago. He'd probably look great. 5 years ago, maybe, and Klopp would make something of him. You think he's too old now, but for that kind of stuff. But if they lose Maddison and they lose Schmeichel, they're not replacing him as far as I know. And if they lose Tielemans and if Vardy gets injured, I think Brendan Rodgers is just going to go, whoever buys my contract first, I'll go there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tricky because they have not brought in anybody in the offseason either. And it's not like they had that much depth to start with. So if they start losing players this late, I don't know if they're going to be able to get players in to replace them. And yeah, it's a long season, so it's going to be interesting. I'm kind of torn on Rodgers. I feel like, that ownership over there might be a bit more loyal to him, because it's not your standard ownership. If it was, it's not Watford. So, so they might like stick with him a lot longer.
Sorry, I have to stop you there. Sorry, just because Watford just texted me, I'm their new manager. They said you're next, about 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'll take over when you're gone. Then, yeah. I'm gonna go make a second cup of coffee.
I'm going to be the manager until this tea is finished. Then it's you.
Well, speaking of, it is time to make that second cup of coffee. Mecca, thanks as always. We'll be up and early again tomorrow, taking a look at the headlines. If you're looking to actually catch up all the news at the same time instead of going site to site to site, just head over to americanscouser.com. Check out the LFC news page. This is basically the page you see, and you can kind of see our articles, obviously, but you can also go to different sources and see the headlines, and it refreshes every 15 minutes, so you're going to have the latest instead of scrolling around and going site to site. We've kind of done the work for you. Well, Maka, thanks again, and see everybody tomorrow morning. Take it easy, guys. Have a great day.